Hello, everyone. Today we have Owen and Brady doing a webinar, and they are C3D interns for the summer. And we will be recording this webinar for the C3D YouTube channel. So, Owen and Brady, take it away.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello.
I'm Brady.
I am Owen.
This webinar gonna be showing you guys how to lift models off of the build plate, and we're gonna be using primarily three types of slicers. We're gonna be using Orca, Bamboo, and Prusa slicers.
Yeah. And so, why are we lifting these models? We're lifting these models that have curves and intricate shapes on all sides, and that the build plate would leave an artifact or a spot that's sort of messed up on them. And when you're trying to print tactile models, this spot can mess people up and just cause like a rough patch that's not very pleasant to feel. And so to avoid that, we lift them up so that we can have supports act as a cocoon and gently print the supports with all the detail. And so now we're going to show how to lift. I'm going to start by showing in Orca Slicer, and then Brady will show us in Bamboo and Prusa Slicer. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. We are going to start in just Prusa Slice, or sorry, Orca Slicer's homepage. And to get started, we need to import a model. In the top middle left, there is the import button. I'm going to be raising a caterpillar. And so this caterpillar is very small. I'll make it the appropriate size to 50%, or I think it's maybe 350. Okay. So this caterpillar, you can see there's not really any good or get like already flat spots to print it on. And so any way you try to print it, it's going to leave a rough surface on the bottom. So the first step to lifting your model is to right click and add a primitive. And we're going to pick cylinder for our primitive. All this does is just adds in the most basic shape, cylinder in this case, that we can use to help lift our model. Um, so we are going to scale this down so that the Z is only one layer, 0.4, and then the X and the Y are going to be, I think 8 is what we decided is appropriate. So this is now going to print on the very first layer and just be a small circle, so it won't affect your print at all. The reason we do this is because you can see that when we try to just move the caterpillar up uh, um, in height, it's back to the build plate because the slicer is not letting us let it float. So to get around this, what we need to do is we need to hold shift, or sorry, hold control and click both the cylinder and the caterpillar, and then right click on them and click the assemble button. This assembly, if we go into the object menu on the left side of Orca Slicer, we can directly select just the caterpillar and move just the caterpillar up, and now it is successfully floating. So the next step is determining the best angle to print this model at, so the supports are not too many. So the key when you're doing that is looking at the model and determining what face has, or sorry, printing it on the smallest side. So we have to use the least amount of supports, because even though supports will help prevent the build plate spot, they do leave small artifacts. So we're going to rotate this at an angle that leaves not too many spots that need supports. And once we have done that, oh, sorry, clarification, we have to make sure that we select just the caterpillar and not the cylinder itself. So we're going to rotate that again. Okay, now once we, oh geez, just should just be just the caterpillar. Okay, so the cylinder actually accidentally got moved up, so we're going to have to move the Z down until it's 0. This is I think we have to rotate the caterpillar before we merge them. So I'm going to unmerge or unassembly, delete the assembly using the split two objects. And now that we have the caterpillar rotated, and this is now also flat on the build plate, we are going to hold control and merge them again, or assemble them again. And now we've done that, we select just the caterpillar, and we are going to add 10 millimeters to the Z height. So in this case, since it's 0.29, we're going to make it 10.29 millimeters up. This gives the proper amount of vertical space for the supports to properly form so that they can create full branches and properly cocoon the object. So now we're going to go back into global settings, select the support tab, enable supports, and change the type of supports to tree automatic and the style to organic. And once we have done that, we can slice our print. And as we can see, we now have supports properly cocooning the caterpillar, meaning that it is going to print with all the detail it can. Now, I think Brady will be showing you the other slicers.
Thank you, Owen. I'm gonna start with presenting the bamboo slicer. So once you enter into bamboo slicer, you're gonna go to, as Owen mentioned, the top middle, press the add button. And then we're gonna search for our model, which is gonna be, in this case, chrysalis. I can Now that we have the chrysalis on our build plate, we're gonna first scale it to its correct size, which is 200%. And now we have our model sitting on our build plate. It is sitting landscape, and that would, when we raise it up, make the most supports, and we do not want that. So we are going to rotate it so it's in portrait. So we have the least amount of model facing towards the build plate, or the least amount of surface area touching the build plate. Now that it is vertical, we're going to right click on the build plate and press the add primitive, and you're gonna select the cylinder. You can also select a cube, but in this example, we're gonna be using a cylinder. We are gonna resize by pressing the scale button, and we're gonna uncheck the uniform scale. And we are gonna, for its size in the X direction, we're gonna make it 8 millimeters. In the Y, we're also gonna make it 8 millimeters. And the Z, we're gonna make it just 2 layers, so it's gonna be 0.4 millimeters. And make sure to move the primitive away from the model so supports can properly generate on the model that you're going to lift. Now you're going to click the object, hold shift, or on Mac, you're going to actually press the model, hold command, and then select the primitive. You're going to right click the model and press merge. These will now merge the models together, and when you try and move the model, the primitive will also move. In order to fix this, so we can lift the model up, we're going to go to Objects in the left-hand side of our screen, and we're going to go to just selecting the chrysalis or the model. Now,
Oh,
if we go to the Move button on the top of the middle of our screen, we will be able to move the Z from where it is 10 millimeters up. So in this case, it is 40.04. So we're going to make it 50.04. Now the object is raised above the build plate 10 millimeters. This will allow the supports to properly generate underneath it. And we're going to go to global on the left-hand side of our screen. And then we're going to click support. And we're going to enable this. We're going to check the enable support button. We're going to make sure the type is tree. And we're going to have it just on the build plate only. Now, when we slice our model, we will have supports generated for our model. And now I'll show you how to do this in Prusa Slicer. It is slightly different in terms of its terminology, so I'll walk you through it. In the top middle of our screen, we're going to click the Add button, and we're going to do a cloud this time. Now, this cloud is really big, so we're going to scale it down to about 40%. Now that the cloud is scaled down, it is sitting landscape, and we want the least amount of model touching the build plate. So we're going to rotate the model 90 degrees in this case. Now, instead of the model sitting landscape, it is sitting portrait. This will allow the least amount of supports to be generated. Now we're going to right click and press add shape. In the other two slicer, it's add primitive. In Prusa, it's add shape, and you're going to select cylinder. Make sure to move the cylinder out from underneath the model. And then you're going to press the scale button. And in the bottom right of your screen, you're going to uncheck the lock button, and you're going to set the X to 8 millimeters. You're going to set the Y to 8 millimeters. And you're going to set the Z to 0.4 millimeters. Now, to merge these objects, you're going to first select the model, which in this case is the cloud. Hold Shift, and then select the primitive. Right-click the model, and press Merge. Now, when you move the model around the build plate, both the model and the primitive move with it. Now, to move it off the build plate, you're going to go to the right-hand side of your screen, and you're going to select the model, which in this case is Cloud Nimbus Hull, so that only you can lift the cloud. You're going to go to Position. In the bottom right of your screen, underneath the Part Manipulation menu, and you're going to move it from where 10 millimeters up in the Z direction from where it already is. In this case, it is 25.4 millimeters, so we're going to raise it up to 35.4 millimeters instead of 25.4 millimeters. Now the model is lifted off the build plate, and we can add supports, so it will be able to print. We're going to go to the top left of our screen and click Print Settings. Now we are going to go on the left-hand column. We're going to select Support Material. We're going to make sure that underneath the first support material, Generate Support Material is checked. Auto Generate Supports is also checked. And then you're going to go to where it says Still in the Support Material menu. You're going to go to where it says Option for Support Material Raft. And for Style, you're going to make sure that it is organic. This will allow it to, this is the best type of support for lifting. Now we're going to go back to the plater menu and click Slice Now in the bottom right-hand corner. Now we have supports generated on our model that is lifted. That is all that we have to demonstrate, and we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, so much. Appreciate you guys becoming an expert in these slicer settings so that we can share this across to people and get this out there. Hopefully, hope to see you guys work with us more in the future. So thanks so much. Good work.
I really appreciate it too, guys. That was awesome. I really appreciate the description.
Awesome. Well, any questions at all? Otherwise, I'll stop the recording here.
Yeah, with this,
This is Emily.
yeah, go ahead, Emily. Sorry.
Oh, I had one thing. So I know for a bamboo printer, because that's the only thing that I use. The texture is a little bit different, on the build plate, and so sometimes it helps to differentiate, like if there's a flat surface, printing it flat against the build plate. Are you guys doing that too, or like you raising stuff for rounded, just for rounded objects, or are you like do you guys recommend raising objects for that are flat?
Well, we if an object is flat, we will print it flat
Okay.
as it is designed.
Yeah.
However, if you have a build plate texture that's like you don't like or you'd rather not have on a specific print, lifting is totally viable in that scenario as well. You just follow the same techniques and then would avoid having whatever textures on your build plate. But it would add an unnecessary step to a part that will already print with like a fine surface finish for the design.
Yeah.
So round
You
is the
might
main
wanna
use case, but sorry.
Oh, I just thought you might be able to get a different build plate too, or does Bamboo only offer one type?
You can definitely get a different build plate for that if it bothers you, but lifting is free. A new build plate does cost a little bit of money.
Yeah, I don't know. I like my build plate. It's totally fine. But yeah, if that's an issue with texture or something. No, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
for sure.
If you were to do this for multiple models, would you just raise them individually, like click each one and raise them up?
So
Would you
yeah, I
create it
mean,
all as like one big group with the primitive that you
yeah,
had?
if you do it individually, that means you would need to have a cylinder for each model. But if you assemble them all or group them with the same cylinder, you should be able to lift them all at the same time and only have one extra cylinder on the build plate. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I could potentially demonstrate that if you want me to.
No worries, no worries.
Okay,
Don't need to.
sounds good.
I'd say, Owen, honestly, like it doesn't hurt to demonstrate just so we put it in the video, you know?
Sure. Sounds good.
Just so we
So
get
someone else can
documentation of it.
see in the future. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna need to ungroup these and redo the process, but that shouldn't be a huge issue. Split two objects. Okay, so I'm gonna import, let's see, do I have cloud? Cloud Cirrus, here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna be lifting a cloud along with my caterpillar, just because I need them both printed, and I'd rather do it at the same time, if it ever loads. Okay, I'm gonna scale this up a little bit to 300. Okay, so the only difference here is that something you just have to rotate each of them individually before you group them, but otherwise it should be the same where you control click all of them, which I'm going to do now. Control click all of them, and then right click and assemble. And then now that they're assembled, well, if my computer loads, yeah, now that they're assembled, we can click on the caterpillar and the cirrus by holding control, and then we can move them both up 10 millimeters. And now they are both lifted independently from the cylinder. And so we are going to slice the plate. And they should be both lifted as intended. Yep. And so they're both lifted. It's the exact same process. You just have to control click and make sure you move both of them up independently from the cylinder.
Excellent.
Thanks. Okay, group. Any more questions?
Great job. Great job, boys.
Thank you. I'm gonna stop the recording.
Thanks, guys.